And then I remembered a cool design I saw in another turn-based game, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade.
What the f? Yo, I'm subscribe! Fixing Star Rail's most poorly aged 5-star. First of all, that is Silver Wolf, not Seele. Second of all, let's just jump right in.
To be a dedicated support for summoner characters, along with Remembrance confirmed to bring us more summoners, surely Jingyuan ends up being the most relevant he's ever been.
For one patch, and then LG comes out, he's done.
One of the best parts of Star Rail is that even old characters have unique aspects that can help them become more relevant long after their releases, as it helps alleviate the power creep induced feeling that your older characters aren't worth using.
I feel like the DOT archetype is really not that bad. Like, you can still zero cycle with DOT. It's fine, guys.
As much anymore. However, this indirect style of buffing through new teammates has its limits, because if a character has a fundamentally flawed design, there might not be a good way to ever fix that. I have a problem with the other 1.0 limited 5-star, Seele. Now, to give credit where it's due, there are some recent endgame runs out there using her, so it has been proven she can still hold her own with the right teams, builds, and conditions. But when I look at her abilities, I can't help but think her design would be completely different if she were released as a new character today. I counted her base kit to have 184 words, and the recent face shouts to have 470. Even Moza, a 4-star, clocked in at 305.
It's like the whole Riot games back in the days, your old champions like Garen. Q is a silence with a speed buff. E is a judgment, spin, deal more damage, and ultimate is a execute. Nowadays, you see shit like Ambessa. Bro has 200 words for a single ability. Absolutely diabolical. It is what it is.
Obviously, more words doesn't necessarily equate to more strength, but it does reflect the change in how Star Rail has approached designing its characters. More text simply allows for a more unique and defined strength that can be later expanded upon, as well as padding to ensure any inherent downsides are minimized and the character feels good to use.
Okay, first of all, I don't think it's as simple as more words equals better kit. It could just be a simple multiplier problem. Like, for example, Face Shell versus Seele is the most prime example. Face Shell's ultimate legit has like pretty much double raw damage multiplier compared to Seele's ultimate, and she gets the ultimate like so much faster than Seele. So sometimes if the number is good enough, then it's really good enough, so it's fine.
Seele's design is still an interesting take on a damage carry, but here's my take on how I'd go about modernizing it for the game's current state.
Okay.
The reason I feel that Seele is outdated is that unlike other limited 5-stars,
Bro is using Luocha. He's still playing Honkai Impact 3. It's time to move on, buddy. It's time to move on, buddy, right? It's time to move on.
Kit's one unique strength doesn't really have anything to be expanded on. Her kit really only wants damage and speed like every other DPS, so pretty much anything that might buff her is going to equally buff her competition, if not more. At its
First of all, why is your Bronya faster than your Sparkle? Actually, if your Bronya were to go faster than Sparkle, the buffs from Bronya would expire because Sparkle's buff would immediately replace Bronya's buff. And secondly, Sparkle is 50% action value advanced, so by the time you bring up Seele, it's gonna be a waste and you're not gonna get her.
At its core, her kit skews towards Star Rail's early endgame, where enemies simply had less HP, but Seele's main mechanic centers around her being able to get last hits on enemies to get an extra turn, and
Bro's mechanic is being a Nasus. Kill the minion or die!
80% increased damage, which is just objectively harder to achieve now than before. Even in pure fiction, where there are tons of weaker enemies, AoE characters have passives that benefit from a large volume of enemies much more than Seele's.
Sorry, chat. I'm so sorry for being like so off tangent, but I just want to have you guys know. As of this moment, I have uninstalled League of Legends. Alright? As of this moment, I have uninstalled League of Legends. We are not playing that game anymore. It is just consuming way too much time. I need to log in. We have Gross Frontline. We have Xenon Zone Zero. We have Honkai Starbucks. We have Warring Waves. We have a lot of games, right? So we are not playing League of Legends anymore. Absolutely.
Having a mechanic like this made a lot of sense in the context of her being Star Rail's first limited 5-star and her being a damage dealer, as she put up the highest single target damage in the game while also directly benefiting from more enemies being present, making her a jack of all trades. Unfortunately, this also meant she'd become the master of none as more specialized characters eventually filled in those extremes. Seele's talent is only going to become more and more obsolete as enemy health pools inevitably increase, which is why I don't think Hoyoverse would have made it the central focus of her design if she was released today. Now I should mention that the way turns are coded in this game work very favorably for Seele, making her buff's uptime much higher than the ability descriptions might lead you to believe. Her ultimate technically activates it for 1
What a fucking dog shit ultimate. Like legit. It's just deals damage. It's legit just deals damage. Okay, you enter the buff state, which you should already be in, and then you just deal damage. Yeah, this thing needs to change.
turn, but if you
And not even any damage, it's 425% multiplier. What the fuck?
cast it during her action, she gets 2 total buffed attacks. Yeah, maybe a bit unintuitive if you don't know about it, but it helps her get uptime on her damage boost even without the extra turns, and her high frequency of actions lets her recharge energy really fast. This is why I don't think she's a completely unusable character, but she's definitely set up to age worse and faster than other 5 stars.
Actually, no, I don't think it's such that she ages worse. It's just that you gotta dig deep. And I think I kind of talked about this in like, I feel like we've made a sit-up video, like, I think 1 month or something ago. She's the prime definition of a unit that doesn't really just rely on having good relics. You need Eidolons. And not just her Eidolons, because her Eidolons are complete dog shit. You need Eidolons on your goddamn supports. E2 Sparkle, E1 Babin, fucking E6 Bronya, E1 Sunday. This kind of stuff. It will let her scale a lot better, because by triggering their resurgence easier, you're gonna get a lot of values. So it's not so much that you need to get perfect relics or even like Seele's Eidolons, but if our support gets better and better, I feel like Seele can still kind of keep up. So it's not that bad, yeah.
And besides her second Ascension trace actually being obsolete with target probability reduction at 50%,
Oh my god, I completely forgot about this trace. Holy fucking useless trace. What the... Oh my goodness. Yep, completely useless trace.
50% HP, it doesn't protect from AoE attacks, and sustained supports are
Oh,
protect from AoE attacks, and sustained supports are more than capable of keeping your team alive without it, which is why no character has had it in their kit since 1.0. The rest of Seele's kit actually has great design despite how simple it is. Her skill gives her a 25% speed buff on top of her still having the highest base speed in the game at 115.
you know what? This really changes nothing. Like, having this speed buff really changes nothing, because it is just there for you to feel like pulling her light cone has value. You feel like, oh, for every 10 speed above 100, we get 1 more stack on the light cone. Which honestly, it changes very, very little, if not nothing. Because nowadays, even if your main DPS is slow, it doesn't fucking matter, bro. It's not even like, even if she gets this 25% speed, she'll all of a sudden get like 500 turns. I don't even think she gets an additional turn in the same cycle, because she will never hit effective 200 speed anyways. Right, she will never hit that. And then if you were to add on shit like Sparkle, add on shit like Babin, Bronya, Sunday next time with all these action very advanced, this speed legit changes nothing. Just reward holding at this point. Yeah, absolutely.
She gets a rare 20% quantum resistance penetration for free,
That's
and
good,
her
though.
basic
That's good.
attack action advances her
This
by
is also good.
20%, which is amazing
Those two are honestly really, really good. But everything else is just...
for
nope.
whenever you can land a knockout with it, especially because her speed buff lasts long enough to where you don't need to use her skill every turn. I wanted to buff Seele without taking away the essence of her current gameplay, and since I unfortunately do want to lower her reliance on takedowns, I think the central focus should be on her speed. And so I thought about how I could design gameplay that promotes speed in an interesting way, because of course, all characters already benefit greatly from more actions. And then I remembered a cool design I saw in another turn-based game, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade.
What the fuck? Yo, oh, but
Honestly,
that's so
just
out
an
of
okay
pocket.
gacha game in my opinion,
That is so
but
out
I
of
really
pocket.
like the way the developers translated the characters'
Oh, is this a hashtag ad? Oh, it's not? Okay, it's not a hashtag ad. I'm dead, bro. Jujutsu Kaisen
powers into
Phantom
the
Parade.
game. Like, to reflect Gojo being the strongest, he is a powerful DPS that can't take any damage, but he straight up leaves after 7 turns, which is hilarious. Well, anyway, Nobara is a character that fits into what is called the nuker archetype, where she sets up for a big ultimate by
Yeah, the only nuke she's getting is her fucking eye. Wait, is it her left eye or right eye? Her left eye. Yeah.
nails into an enemy, each one increasing the total damage. We have a few things in Star Rail that are kind of close to this, like Argenti and Acheron's ultimates, but I think we can do better. Let's say Seele's skill now additionally applies 1 stack of Butterfly Flurry, name stolen from her 6th Eidolon since I'm only designing her base kit.
Okay. Increase speed by 25%, deals quantum damage equals to a multiplier of Seele's attack to a single enemy and applies 1 stack of Butterfly Flurry. A bit too long, in my opinion. 10 stacks of Butterfly Flurry is gonna take 5,000 years, man. It's a little bit too long. I want to kind of see how this scales, but as this looks like it's not gonna work because 10 stacks just takes way too long. And for most mobs, you just kill them anyways.
This can be stacked up to a certain cap, so let's just say an arbitrary number like 10. Her ultimate's damage now is multiplied for every stack of Butterfly Flurry on the target and removes it afterwards. Like Acheron, this stack is counted as an other effect and not a debuff so as to not accidentally enable other DPS characters, but unlike Acheron's Crimson Knot stacks, the increased damage is multiplicative rather than additive. This effectively makes the damage scale incredibly high when reaching those final stacks, and of course is less effective early on. This would give her a completely unique playstyle by utilizing her fast speed to hit big nukes rather than the standard of linearly adding more total damage with each attack. So where does that leave her talent? I'm keeping the extra turn on takedown, but without the damage boost because I feel that the extra opportunity to apply a stack is helpful, but also missing out on it due to there being less enemies
if my setup is 67k,
won't feel as bad. To add a bit more utility to this while also adding in a bit of dimension to her kit, Seele now gains extra bonuses.
Whoa. Okay, upon defeating an enemy with basic attack skill, ultimate receives an extra turn, gains extra bonus based on the attack used. If we defeat with basic attack, an additional skill point is restored. And the next action value is, it's 20% plus an additional skill point. If we defeat with skill, 1 stack is applied to all enemies. If Seele defeats an enemy with an ultimate, Seele's next ultimate will have Y% increased quantum res pen. Enemies defeated provided a resurgence will not trigger another turn. Okay.
Based on the attack used. When Seele defeats an enemy with her basic attack, her next action is advanced by 20% to retain her old 6th Ascension trace, but now it also restores an additional skill point. This should help offset her increased skill point demand, as well as her reliance on skill point hungry supports. But if you already have enough skill points available, you're better off using your skill because when she defeats an enemy with it, 1 stack of Butterfly Flurry is applied to all enemies. This way, her gameplay is accelerated by side enemies while still having a clear focus on single target damage.
You know what would be crazy? She will unironically be the best aircon support. If Butterfly Flurry counts as a debuff, you have a skill point generator and a AoE debuff applier. It will literally be one of aircon's best support, but I'm just saying.
And lastly, when Seele defeats an enemy with her ultimate, her next ultimate will have increased quantum res pen, also retaining her old ascension trace while simultaneously encouraging a killstreak like playstyle. Her little caveat of her talent not being able to trigger infinite turns has been tweaked very slightly so that she still gets the extra buffs from knockouts during her extra turn. With an adjustment to her technique to replace the buff state with applying a stack to all enemies at the start of each wave, in line with other characters, that's the basic foundation for my redesigned Seele, but of course we're not done yet. The idea is there, but it also
we'll let it cook like the whole kit, because I still think it's a little bit premature to judge. I still feel like the Butterfly Flurry is going to apply too slowly, because the cap is at 10 stacks. How long is it going to take for Seele to reach 10 stacks on one target? I feel like it's going to take very long. And even if you have the additional speed, it's not like you gain a lot more turns. Because speed thresholds in Honkai Starbucks, it is determined by your waves. It's basically 134, 200, or 267. I don't think you're ever hitting 200, much less 267 speed. So even if you have those speed, it wouldn't give you an extra turn to go a lot of times. We'll let it cook.
Has some very clear design weaknesses. First of all, what do we do about energy? If Seele is waiting for 10 stacks to rack up before ulting, that's a lot of wasted energy. I considered making her ult only activatable when there's 10 stacks, kind of like a solo Acheron, but I still want Seele to realistically have the option to use it on weaker enemies to start the buff, so that won't work. Instead, I went with adding a new part to her talent, which is that when her energy is full, she gains another speed buff.
When energy is full, gives her another speed buff. I feel like it's just not worth it, man. I would just rather cast more ultimates. It doesn't feel enough. Especially since if you defeat an enemy with your ultimate, your next ultimate will gain increased quantum res pen. I find it very hard to find a scenario where I would purposely save my ultimate and wait for Butterfly Flurry to reach 10 seconds. Because it's like, her ultimate cost at this point is 120, right? It's gonna take so long. Every single time you use the skill is minus 30 minute energy, and you have to wait and wait and wait. Having a speed buff of energy is full is not an appealing enough incentive to save energy. I feel like she needs to get her something else. Either way more res pen or a defense pen or a way for her to like go even above and beyond. Kind of like Aircron stacks, you know? Like Aircron, if you have max stacks, you can get like 3 more stacks of Slash Dreams. Right? Usually, you have like double the max energy. It's the same thing for Seele. If you just need to store and wait, you only get a speed buff. I don't think it's enough.
This way, reaching full energy without having a good opportunity to ult still helps her out by letting her get those stacks on quicker. This also gives her a more distinct niche by being a hyper carry that doesn't actually benefit that much from supports that provide energy. The next problem with a big nuke ultimate is that it's one big instance of damage that needs to be optimized. Basically, if it doesn't crit, that would feel really bad. So to combat this, her ult has a built-in, fixed 50%.
What the fuck? Holy shit. Okay, this sounds like a horrible idea. You know why? Because this means only that ultimate has 50% crit rate. So am I supposed to build a 50% crit rate Seele? So my skill is just gonna deal negative damage. No fucking shot. So now my basic and skill will have 50% crit rate. While we are building her like a Jingliu. No fucking shot. Nope.
Increased crit rate, and her minor trace has been changed from crit damage to crit rate.
Absolutely
this 62% free crit rate will ensure that with a crit rate relic, she is pretty much guaranteed to crit on her ult, but
oh, well, that's so that's even worse, because now if you have a crit rate relic, all your crit rate subjects are fucking useless. Nah, I think we need more.
It doesn't trivialize giving her an even stronger build because she still wants a good chance to crit on her other abilities to activate her talent. Now, crit isn't the only multiplier to be aware of, because enemies that aren't weakness broken also take 10% reduced damage. This next Ascension trace I think could be a little overboard, but you know what, for a concept it's fine. It states that when Seele's ultimate is used on an enemy with the maximum amount of Butterfly Flurry stacks, it always reduces the enemy's remaining toughness bar regardless of weakness type, in order to not completely destroy the balance.
Super break Seele. Super break
Balance of enemies with multiple bars, it can remove at most just one. I also made sure to not just massively increase her weakness break efficiency because that could accidentally lead to super break Seele, which is not what I want at all. The last 2 Ascension traces I've included to really nail down Seele's new identity. The first is that when a target with stacks of Butterfly Flurry is defeated, an equivalent amount of stacks.
Oh, this is good though. Okay, this is nice. So they can kind of transfer over like Aircron Slash Dreams. Then I think it's a lot easier to apply your 10 stacks. Quite problematic for bosses though, especially if they don't summon anything. Unless it's like cross wave as well. So like if you already have 10 stacks at the start of wave 1, if you defeat everybody, it transfers to the boss. I think that would be very, very nice. But other than that,
stacks are then applied to a random enemy. This is another detail taken from Acheron, but it helps Seele benefit even more from there being more enemies on the field. Every time she applies a stack to all, those will eventually get funneled into an elite or boss enemy and help her get max potential ultimates off sooner. This further pushes her talent as a way to accelerate her kit rather than being the cornerstone of it. And the last Ascension trace is a neat little buff to offset the biggest weakness of her high speed. Anytime Seele gets a buff from an ally, it now lasts in addition.
Oh, holy! We are cooking! Anytime Seele gains a buff from an ally, it lasts an extra turn. Okay, this one we are cooking. We are cooking. So your Bronya lasts 2 turns, your Sparkle lasts 2.9 turns, your Sunday buff lasts 4 turns. Okay, we are actually cooking.
Turn. With all her speed, she will inevitably end up expending her buffs really quickly, which is especially bad for trying to ensure she has every buff possible for her massive ult. This should help make her gameplay a bit more forgiving in terms of actions and
a lot more forgiving.
It also further solidifies her new design as a solo damage carry who completely synergizes with single target supports like Bronya and Sparkle by fully utilizing all of what they provide. Honestly, I'm really satisfied.
Holy shit. Alright, TLDR of Seele 2.0. Basic, no change. Skill, no change, but we get a 1 stack of Butterfly Flurry up to 10 stacks. Would be nice if we can also apply it with our basic attack. Would be nice if we can also, any of Seele's damage can apply 1 stack. That would be nice. Or maybe you apply 2 stacks with skill and 1 stack with basic. Ultimate, no change. Multiplier is increased based on every butterfly stack. Okay, this line feels kind of fucked. All stacks of Butterfly Flurry are removed from the target after. I don't like this one. Because that means if we were to use this on a boss that has no summons, it's going to take 50 billion years to get back to 10 stacks again. I feel like Butterfly Flurry should be something like a permanent thing. Like your Argenti increase apotheosis or your Doctor ratios additional stacks, right? As long as it's there, just keep them there, right? She is not Acheron. Because unlike Acheron, she doesn't have a reliable way to gain increased butterfly flurry stacks. Or at least not from this kit that I've seen so far. So I'll definitely lose. This one, fuck off. Fuck no. Ultimate has this is so fucking bad. Nope. Absolutely not. There is no world I'm building my setup to have 50% crit rate. Absolutely fucking not. I would rather just have 100% increased crit damage. Just to make the ultimate deal even more. Like Yun Li's ultimate. Right? Yun Li's ultimate, all her counters, it has 100% additional. Make that shit. I will nope, absolutely not. Alright. Talent energy is full, speed increased by a certain percent. I would prefer if this is something else or something more. Because speed alone is not enough to justify for me to reserve energy for Seele. Especially since she's not Acheron, she's not Yun Li. She doesn't have means to conserve stacks. Or like face out, right? Once it's full, then anything excess, it will be like spillage. You'll be wasting like 30 energy, 60 energy. It'll be kind of bad. So I'll definitely need way bigger of an incentive other than just a simple speed buff. Maybe if the energy is full, she applies, I don't know, like 5 or like 3 times more butterfly flurry. So now her skill applies 6 stacks if this is times 2. I think that might be a little bit better. But other than that, I think this is not enough. Upon defeating enemy blah blah. So these are all the additional benefits. This one, the basic one is nice. Additional skill point restore and the AV advance. So basically we get 1 more skill. I think this one is very, very nice, especially for the skill point neutrality. So that's good. Skill 1 stack applied to all enemies. We are kind of cooking. I feel like this is a neutral ability. Defeats enemy with skill 1 stack applied to all enemies. I think this is kind of neutral. The ultimate one is... I feel like this ultimate is a little bit anti-synergistic. This line wants you to save her ultimate unless you get max stacks. Whereas this line wants you to use your ultimate to get increased res pen. Do I want more res pen or do I like want more butterfly flurry? So this probably can change to something else. I would prefer if she defeats an enemy with Seele's ultimate. Hold on, chat, let me cook. She refunds 50% of her energy. Oh my fucking god, guys. That would be so fucking good. Because now it perfectly fulfills the role of someone that can spam her ultimate. Because that's where her highest multiplier is coming from. And it's really not even that broken. Because you have shit like Facial and Acheron having 1 ultimate every other turn. Having the ability to refund 50% of energy costs, first of all, it's unheard of. It will be unique to Seele. Second of all, it fits perfectly with her means of going multiple times and triggering resurgence. Third of all, it also allows you to start to kind of balance out how do we apply stacks of butterfly flurry on top of the additional frequency we are going to be using ultimate. So personally, that's what I would run. 50% ultimate energy refund upon defeating a target. So you can't spam it on targets that you can't kill as well. Then you can build up your stacks before you use your ultimate. Very nice. Hail Pokke. Hail Pokke. That way, hire me. That way, hire me. Alright, my phone call, right here. We can talk about it over lunch tomorrow. Alright. Enemy defeated in the extra turn. Okay, this is completely fine. We'll say that. Technique, no change, blah blah. Major ascension traces. When a target with stacks of butterfly flurry is yep, okay, this is fine. I'm just feels that 1 stack is too slow. Especially since you are removing this. So you either make this way faster or you make butterfly flurry permanent. I think the way faster one will be more nice when it comes to like game balance. So just apply faster and then you can remove them. Otherwise, I think this is just a little bit too slow. Anytime gains a buff, last an additional turn, excellent cook. Michelin 3 stars. Excellent cook. When Seele's ultimate is used on maximum stacks, reduce enemy full toughness bar regardless of winner type. Nah, I feel like we can do better than that. I feel like this would be best if it's defense down. Because so far, our quantum teams, they have a lot of synergy with defense down. 4-piece quantum, Sparkle, E2, E1 Ramen if you run her. Now you have E1 Sunday. Or if you run her with Silver Wolf, right? Silver Wolf is like shit. Some sort of defense down or res pen would be quite nice. So build in additional res pen or defense down to try to hit as close to that 100% death as possible. Considering that we already have stupid broken light cones, which has like fucking face out light cone is like 54% defense down, right? So I don't think it's too much of an ask if when we use it on maximum stack, we get additional either death down or res pen. Ignores toughness, weakness, I honestly don't care. Especially if you consider that if we are running Seele with like Silver Wolf, then toughness bar shouldn't even be a problem, right? So this is not good enough. I'll change something else. Other than that, I think we are low-key cooking. So that will be my improved Seele. Editor, that's your job. Repeat everything I said and then slap them onto this diagram. Wholly overworking, right? So
I feel like it properly retains most of what makes Seele unique and really plays to her strengths, but still has properties that could be easily tuned for the sake of balancing. It also has much better longevity by scaling even more with future speed and action advanced supports. I know re-releases of previous characters have been a thing for a while in Star Rail, but they've always been large departures from the original design, so they're really only the same character visually and not gameplay wise. Because Seele is a banner character, I think it would legitimately be in Hoyoverse's best interest to give her some kind of awakening like in other gacha games to keep her relevant, and even bundle in a new type of companion quest to expand on her story too. I know—
Nope. I think it won't happen. Why make an old character better when you can just make newer character better? I mean, this is just strictly Korba, nothing personal, right? It's just business, it's just Korba. There's not a lot of sense to make old characters better when they just make new ones. So as much as we love to theory craft this, how can we fix Seele? Seele 2.0 will change everything. 99% it is never gonna happen. So womp, fucking womp.
I know we're getting big.
So you can sell reruns. Nobody pulls for reruns anyways. So it is what it is.
Big Herda in 3.0, and she shares the same type and path as 4-star Herda, but considering how well Little Herda works with other AoE units that enable her talent,
Counterpoint Jingyuan, you wouldn't pull Jingyuan as well. So you wouldn't pull Jingyuan because you would pull Sunday and then you would bench Jingyuan one patch later when Agley comes out. So nope, doesn't work.
and I'd be very surprised if they don't work incredibly well on the same team. So for that reason, her release isn't exactly what I'm suggesting, whereas the new Seele would in theory just make the old one obsolete while aging significantly better. It seems like Hoyo has been satisfied with how their methods of indirect buffing have worked out really well up to now, so it's hard to imagine them changing their stance anytime soon, but eventually with time I think it'll be a more feasible course of action. Well, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more Star Rail design discussions.
This was very, very interesting. Okay, wait. Before I end off, first of all, excellent goddamn video. I think we can call Dawei up with this one. Well, we're getting recruited by the Hoyoverse with this one, right? Okay, but this would be quite nice if there's more room in the end game content justifying a use of a different team. And I think the most direct way of incentivizing this, without hurting MiHoYo's bottom line to release new units, is to release 3-team content. 3-team content, it will allow players a lot more incentive. Because otherwise, why would I ever go back to old teams when I just run the 2 best teams, aka Super Break / follow-up? And then when someone comes out, whichever they replace. Like, it doesn't really incentivize me as a player to like play with DOT, play with like Seele, play with Blade, play with like fucking Kelala. Like, it's very little because I can just use the best. And there's not a lot of point for me to go back unless there is a reason for me to go back. And I think 3-team content is the best way to go about it. Alright, so that's it. Alright. That's all. Leave a comment down below. How can we make Seele great again? Our today is gonna be make Star Rail 2.0 units great again. Right? Join Twitch, join Discord, join all the best guys. See you guys next time. Take care.